of the people, 90.3 FM. My name is Ijeoma Innocent, and these are the top stories. Utomi reveals Atiku, Obi and Kwankwaso have agreed to join forces in 2027. PDP petitions NJC over appeal court ruling ousting Plateau lawmakers. Misappropriation of SIP funds sparks calls for Tinubu to probe Buharis government. And investigations reveal Tinubu's troops gulped 3.4 billion naira in 6 months. On the foreign scene, Iceland volcano erupts, leaves town blazing. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The World News at 12 begins with political economist Professor Pat Utomi revealing that the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), the Labour Party and the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP) have joined the forces to establish a formidable political party aimed at ousting the All Progressives Congress (APC) in 2027. The professor disclosed this in an interview with Channels Television yesterday. He stated that it will be a clean start as Nigeria is yet to have a political party since 1999, but instead has managed to create platforms that enable machine politics to grab power, usually for state capture. Asked about who will be the presidential candidate for the mega party in the next election, he said, and I quote, "We're not talking about candidates now. We're talking about what the party will look like, the values that the party will stand for, the policies that the party will stand for, and a national strategy." End quote. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has sent a petition to the National Judicial Council (NJC) and the Federal Judicial Service Commission over the sack of its members in the Senate, the House of Representatives and the Plateau State House of Assembly by the Court of Appeal last year. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja had in November 2023 sacked all 16 members of the PDP in Plateau State House of Assembly for pre-election matters bordering on alleged disobedience of court order and lack of political structure. Before then, the appeal court had sacked 4 PDP members of the House of Reps from the state and 2 senators. But in a ruling on Friday, the Supreme Court berated the ruling of the appellate court for sacking the PDP lawmakers, saying that a lot of people have suffered as a result of the decision. Justice Nyango Koro, who headed the 5-member panel of the Supreme Court that reversed the sack of Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang, said the issue of nomination is exclusively the internal affairs of a political party. Speaking with journalists over the weekend, the Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Ibrahim Abdullahi, said the party had resolved to petition the relevant institutions in the federal judiciary to review the Court of Appeal's decisions. Abdullahi also stated that the party regards the appeal court's decision as an injustice against the 16 lawmakers from Plateau State. Meanwhile, allegations of massive fraud in the operations of the National Social Investment Program Agency (NSIPA), as well as the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, have sparked calls for President Bola Tinubu to probe the administration of his predecessor, former President Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari had set up the agency in 2016, 1 year after he assumed office as Nigeria's president, to drive his administration's national social investment programs. The social investment programs were conceived to tackle poverty and hunger across the country. The agency is currently under the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. Now, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation was also set up by Buhari's administration, originally as the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Former President Buhari established the ministry via an executive pronouncement on August 21, 2019. There are a few NSIPA programs, namely N-Power, Conditional Cash Transfer, Government Enterprise and Empowerment, and Homegrown School Feeding Programs, as well as the overall mandate of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, were expected to alleviate poverty in the country and provide succor to distressed Nigerians. But a cross-section of Nigerians, including civil society organizations and political activists who spoke with newsmen, noted that the establishment of the institutions has become counterproductive. In a recent development, investigations have revealed that President Bola Tinubu spent not less than 3.4 billion naira on local and foreign travels within 6 months of assuming office. The figure is 36% more than the 2.49 billion naira earmarked for the president's travel expenditure in the 2023 budget. Although the president inherited the budget halfway, he spent more than what was apportioned for the whole year between June and December 2023. The president also approved the sum of 3 billion naira for the purchase of 3 bulletproof Mercedes-Benz S-Class 580 and the supply of other vehicles to the State House. Last year, Tinubu's government attracted public outrage for sponsoring at least 1,114 delegates to the United Nations Annual Climate Summit COP28 in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. Although the presidency said it sponsored only 422 delegates, reports say it spent 2.78 billion naira on airfares and escorts. However, last week the presidency announced Tinubu's decision to slash by 60% his entourage size for domestic and international travels. Meanwhile, checks by journalists using GovSpend, a civic tech platform that tracks and analyzes the federal government spending, showed that the total sum of 1.15 billion naira was spent as provision for presidential trips and other related expenses in the last 6 months. Elsewhere, the Rivers State House of Assembly has announced that this week it will conduct a rescreening and reconfirmation process for 9 former commissioners who recently resigned from the State Executive Council. The arrangement was revealed in a statement issued today in Port Harcourt by the Clerk of the House, Emeka Amadi. According to the statement, the commissioners who will undergo this process include Professor Zacchaeus Adango, a senior advocate of Nigeria, who served as the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Dr. Des George Kelly, the Commissioner for Works, Emeka Uwoke, the Commissioner for Special Duties, Mrs. Inime Aguma, Commissioner for Social Welfare and Rehabilitation, and Isaac Kamalu, the Commissioner for Finance. You will recall that on December 16, 2023, a wave of resignations swept through the State Executive Council amid a political crisis between the governor of the state, Sim Fubara, and his predecessor, the current Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. It was reported that the reinstatement of the former commissioners who had resigned was one of the conditions outlined in President Tinubu's peace agreement with Fubara. You are still listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I'm not alone in the studio. You do know that we invite seasoned and experienced analysts so that we can also hear how they dissect the issues in the news. Today we have Mr. Peter Anosike, development economist, also a political, social and national affairs commentator. Welcome to the World News at 12. Mr. Anosike.
Thank you for having me.
It is always a pleasure to have you here. Let us begin with the last item on the news bulletin today. The Rivers State House of Assembly are to rescreen and reconfirm 9 former commissioners. One short question: should this be happening? Right, it's reported that this is part of what Wike and Fubara signed, or rather Fubara signed, in the 8-point agreement that was drafted, by the presidency to help quell the storm between Wike and Fubara. And right now, should this be happening? Really, that's the question. To rescreen and reconfirm 9 former commissioners. We also have the case of 27 lawmakers who may also be coming back. Should this be happening, or is Fubara being sidelined? Is he being overwhelmed? Is Wike still at work?
Well, they say even among thieves, there should be honor. Understand? Even among thieves, there should be honor. So once Fubara signed to the resolution, he should implement it. People are saying that between that Wike and the Fubara, that Fubara is a lesser evil. But evil is still evil. Understand? Whether big or this. So for me, since he signed onto the agreement, he should follow it up. That's why I say even among thieves, there should be honor. I'm not a fan of Fubara. I'm not a fan of Wike. Understand? Both of them are the problems with this country. Both of them join hand in what happened on February 25 in Rivers State. It is them that rigged the presidential election in Rivers State. So I don't have sympathy for either Fubara or for Wike. But the truth is that if they are to come back, then let them come back. But Fubara shouldn't allow Wike man to be his attorney general and commissioner for justice.
You should not allow someone who's loyal to Wike to be his commissioner for justice.
Because that's where impeachment starts. It is the attorney general that always sends impeachment notice to the House.
So if you went, as they didn't succeed last year, they might want to try again.
They might want to try again. Understand?
Okay.
So and Wike, every greedy person is a fighter. Wike is greedy. He's a fighter. He doesn't. He has not stopped. Understand? So he has apologized to Rivers people that he made mistake. So he will want to correct his mistake, and the only way to correct his mistake is to get Fobra out of office. So he should be very, very careful, and again he should also be mindful of committing impeachable acts. Understand? So I don't know what the Constitution says about commissioners who have been screened before going back to be rescreened.
To be screened again. It would seem that everything is not actually even going to the, going according to the Constitution in Rivers State if we are to go by the cases of the lawmakers.
Yes, and again, going by the budget which has been passed, understand, and signed into law, going back again to represent a budget could also be an impeachable act. So Fobra should be very, very careful.
It seems it's a lose-lose situation for him.
He should be very, for me, the only win for him now is the person that he has made his chief of staff. Because chief of staff is a very, very sensitive position, understand? So it's always good to have your own person with you. Understand me? If you are in office, then he should be very, very careful of what he has entered into, because it is something that might consume him.
Okay, then let us talk about the elephant in the room. So many people, so many comments are coming in, and people are saying this is good news, or this will be good news if it is confirmed to be true. Political economist Professor Pat Utomi has revealed that the presidential candidates of PDP in last year's election, that is Atiku Abubakar, Labour Party, that's Peter Obi, and NNPP, that's Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, have allegedly agreed to join forces to establish a formidable political party aimed at kicking out the APC in 2027. He's saying they have agreed to form a merger, although he was asked who will be the presidential candidate for that mega party in the next election, and he said that's not what is being discussed now, but what is being discussed are the values of the party and the policies of the party. We do know that there are cases where the Labour Party, the PDP and the NNPP, there are cases where they agree, right? But there are also much more cases where they disagree, where they differ. Right. Also, recently, after the Supreme Court judgment on Friday, Atiku reportedly came out to say that he's ready to lead a coalition against the APC in 2027. Two questions. If this is really happening, why is Pat Utomi the one telling us and not either of these three presidential candidates or their spokesperson? And secondly, if this really is to happen, who will they present out of these three men who are aiming to rule the nation?
Well, for me, I don't know. I don't have any knowledge of where they met. I don't have any idea of a meeting between Kwankwaso, Atiku, and Obi. I don't know where that meeting was held. And I know that Atiku has his media person, Peter Obi has, and Kwankwaso also have. So I have no idea where they met and where that meeting and the resolution of the meeting. And none of them has either confirmed or denied it. Peter Obi has not confirmed or denied it. Atiku has not confirmed or denied it. And Kwankwaso has also not confirmed or denied it. So for me, there's a suspense. But if it should happen, understand, for me, it is one thing that will put APC government on their toes, because it is a hurricane coming after them, and the only way to avert such is to be on the side of the people. That is the only thing that can that should be the only answer that APC can have if Atiku and Kwankwaso should come together. The only thing that can save them is to be on the side of the people and to work for the people, which will now be a benefit for the Nigerian masses, because APC from formation is only interested in hijacking power. The interest is never on working for the Nigerian masses. That's why they are already talking of 2027 and 2031. It was not set to better the life of the masses. Then on who will be the presidential candidate if these three people come together, unless somebody want to deceive himself. Understand me? Unless somebody want to deceive himself. One, there's no way Atiku will step down for P2B or for Kwankwaso unless he doesn't want to run. Understand me?
But if he doesn't want to run, isn't that still a step down?
That's what I mean now. Unless he does not want to run for the election. But if he's interested in the election, he cannot step down for P2B and for or Kwankwaso. Reasons. One, Atiku has held higher political office than P2B and Kwankwaso. He was once a vice president. Understand? So with that, in politics, that's what is known as right of first refusal. Right of first refusal is given to the person with the highest political office. Understand me? That was how Joe Biden emerged in 2020 as a Democratic Party presidential candidate in the United States. He was the former vice president to Barack Obama. So he should not step down for any other person. Even in this 2024, the Democrats know that he's not a good candidate. But being a president, the highest political office holder in the party, and still interested in running, he cannot step down for any other person. In the Republican Party, the former president, Donald Trump, is interested. So he cannot step down for Nikki Haley or for the Californian governor. So that's how things work. So if the three come together for 2027, one, Atiku is a higher political office holder. Understand me? Number one, he is coming from PDP.
That is the only one of the three of them who has ever attained the highest or one of the highest positions in the land amongst the three of them. No other person. So he has held higher political office than P2B. As a vice president. They've only ever been governors.
They have been governors, understand me? So he shouldn't, he's not going to step down unless he's not interested. Number two, he is coming from PDP, which is a bigger political platform
than the NNPP and Labour Party.
LP and NNPP. Understand me? That's also to PDP now has at least more than 10 states, while LP has just one, Abia, and NNPP has just one, Kano State. Understand me? Number three, war chest, that's finance. Atiku is far richer than P2B and far richer than Kwankwaso. Understand? So everything is on his own side. Understand me? Everything is on his own side. So we shouldn't, when three of them comes, people will always say, let Atiku go. Understand? So the issue of who is going to step down, Atiku cannot step down for P2B or for Kwankwaso.
You know, that brings the question of if there really is this merger, because this is not the first time there have been talks of a merger, but it's looking real this time around. If there really is this,
until they personally confirmed it.
Okay.
Even though we know that Pat Utomi is not somebody who talks unguardedly. Understand? We don't know him to be making unnecessary utterances.
These are three men who are nursing the ambition of rising up to the highest position in the land.
P2B is not nursing ambition. P2B want to help Nigeria.
What about Kwankwaso?
Kwankwaso may be interested in being the president. So among the three of them, P2B want to help Nigeria out of the woods. Okay,
the question is this: if you're saying Atiku will refuse to step down for either of the two of them, what if?
Don't use that word, refuse. This is politics. He has held higher political office than any of them.
So it only makes sense that he will be the one that they will present.
Sure.
So there is no case of any of them coming up to say, look, I want it to be me, and it just has to be me.
Even P2B cannot tell Atiku, step down for me.
Would there be rancor or quarrels, in this measure?
If they have the interest of the country at heart, they will know how to solve it.
Okay, then. Let us move forward to another issue that, also needs your analysis. The PDP has petitioned the National Judicial Council over the appeal court ruling ousting the Plateau lawmakers. We did talk about this on the recap on Saturday, and we spoke about how the Supreme, it felt like the Supreme Court was, shooting, would we say itself or the judiciary in the foot?
The appeal court. The appeal court.
The Supreme Court, the appeal court was shooting itself in the foot?
The Supreme Court was indicted the appeal court.
Yeah, the Supreme Court indicted the appeal court. So it's like shooting the judiciary in the foot, saying that the appeal court gave a wrong judgment. And we also spoke about how the Plateau State House of Assembly Speaker is saying that the 16 APC lawmakers that replaced the PDP lawmakers who were ousted by the court, he will not recognize them until this is solved. We also spoke about the PDP or the lawmakers taking this issue further again as a burden. Right now, the PDP has petitioned the National Judicial Council saying they want something to be done. What do we see coming out of this? Because the highest court in the land has said it was a wrong judgment. It's only right if justice is to be done. It would seem that the idea of justice here right now is to now oust the 16 APC members and maybe look at the issues again to make sure to know if this PDP lawmakers should return or another kind of judgment will be given. For
me, if they want to sanitize the judiciary, they should start by sacking the president of the appeal court. Before, we used to have this feeling that women are the weaker sex. Understand? But women are the one now causing all the problems in the world. Women are the one now.
That's very.
Excuse me.
That's a generalization.
The president of the appeal court is a woman. Understand? She hails from the same senatorial zone with the immediate past governor of Plateau State. Understand? The immediate past governor of Plateau State made her daughter a judge. And understand me? So, and they made her son-in-law a judge too. So she knew that the man failed the election. So she did everything to make sure that APC won. So she was returning a favor.
Yeah, here is the thing. If she's wrong, and we know that women held positions, especially in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, there's been a lot of controversy. Betta Edu, Sadiya Umar Farouk, Halima Shehu. Now you're talking about the president of the appeal court. These are just 4 women out of the billions of women in the world. So when you say women are the ones causing all the problems,
on the spotlight now. And the ones that behind all the scene are still causing their own.
We can agree with that, but the generalization is what we really cannot agree with.
It's shameful for women to be doing this.
Okay.
And that is very, very shameful. The better Edu is a woman. Understand me? The president of the appeal court is a woman. Just imagine what appeal court did.
Men have been holding positions for years, and corruption, misappropriation of funds, a whole lot of water has passed under the bridge as regards the evil that men do.
It can be tolerated. Women should be correcting the mistakes that men made. Understand me? So for me, the appeal court judge should be sacked. That should be the beginning. The appeal court judge should be sacked. Then since Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, has admitted that the appeal court made a mistake, they shouldn't condone that mistake. The National Judicial Council should find a way of addressing that issue. Those people that were wrongfully sacked should be given back their positions.
Okay.
Otherwise, there are going to be continuous anarchy in Plateau State.
All right, then. Our time is fast spent and we really need to go. So I'd like to take these two issues together, right? Investigations revealed that President Tinubu's troops gulped 3.4 billion naira in 6 months. And also, civil society organizations, analysts, Nigerians, political activists are calling for President Bola Tinubu to probe Buhari's government, not just probe his ministers, but to probe his full government, to probe Buhari himself for the misappropriation of social investment program funds. There are quite a few social investment programs. We have the conditional cash transfer, we have the government enterprise and empowerment, we have the homegrown school feeding program. You know, all of this were under President Muhammadu Buhari and the former President Muhammadu Buhari rather. And now it's showing that most of all of this were just, like you've always said, vehicles to move funds out of, you know, Nigerians' pockets. It's like the Commonwealth of Nigerians is just going into the pockets of a few based on this fund. Do you see Tinubu probing Buhari's government?
Buhari ran the worst government in the history of Nigeria.
You've always said that.
But the truth is that Tinubu is not going to probe Buhari. But their ministers, and remember, when Buhari was signing off, he said, let nobody call his name for anything. He said so. So, Tinubu is not going to probe Buhari, but I'm happy that the scheme has been stopped because all of them are scam. The school feeding program is scam. Imagine the billions that were spent when schools were on break. Who were they feeding? They were not carrying food to individual houses. Then the cash transfer program is also a scam because why? Our data is not accurate. Understand me? We don't have data in this country. So the National Social Register, the Humanitarian Affairs, is just a conduit pipe to siphon the resources of the country. And I'm happy that Tinubu has stepped on it and let him probe up to 2015 because Buhari took Nigeria 50 years backwards.
Okay, then.
Then for his government expenditure outside, Tinubu is running a government of squandermania. And he needs to stop that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anosike. Our time is fast spent and we need to proceed with the news bulletin. Thank you for joining me on the World News at 12 this afternoon. I really appreciate your presence, your analysis, and your input.
Thank you for having me.
You're still listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Now, on the foreign scene, a volcano has erupted near the southwestern Icelandic town of Grindavik, sending lava spilling into the town and setting multiple houses on fire. Houses have been set on fire in the town after two volcanic fissures opened nearby. Defenses built after an eruption in December have partially contained the lava, but some have been breached. Iceland's President Gudni Johannesson urged people to stand together and have compassion for those who cannot be in their homes. Grindavik was evacuated in November after a different eruption, but some residents have been allowed home. Iceland has more than 30 active volcano systems. And that's it on the World News at 12. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that Utomi has revealed that Atiku, Obi and Kwankwaso have agreed to join forces in 2027. PDP petitions NJC over appeal court ruling ousting Plateau lawmakers. Misappropriation of social investment funds spark calls for Tinubu to probe Buhari's government, and investigations reveal Tinubu's troops gulped 3.4 billion naira in 6 months. On the foreign scene, Iceland volcano erupts, leaves town blazing. And that is a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Ijeoma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903FM for coverage of your live events and brand news mentioned in the news bulletins. To send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.